Hey, gorgeous people. It is Freaky Friday, and I just wanted to say hello, and I wanted to make sure that you weren't having a freaky day like I am. Look, I got my hair cut. Cool, hey? And my dog's here, waiting to get attention in the afternoon on a Friday. So, I wanted to chat to you guys today about something that happened to me today, and then I thought, I wonder if it happens in the group as well. And what it was, I was having an Insta scroll on my way after I'd finished flying today. Who has an Insta scroll and then goes into, and bizarrely enough, when I was flying today, I had to scroll and dive, and that's kind of what happened in my Insta scroll today too. And it's happened throughout my entire career as a naturopath, and it's cool because there is so much gold in the triggering. But this time today, when I was having my Insta scroll, I was like, yeah, scroll, and then dive. And I wanted to try to address what happens when we have our scroll and dive on Instagram or social media. So what I was doing today was having my little scroll because I wanted to have a little brain moment where I could just like scroll after being so on for flying a helicopter. So what I did was scroll. Oh my goodness, there is another helicopter pilot. So this has happened to me as a naturopath and as a business owner all the time. But I happened to see somebody who was a female pilot who is a student as well. But it was the first time she had mentioned she was a student pilot and that she was only a couple of hours away from getting her license, similar to me. And I saw her flying over like Bora Bora or the Bahamas or somewhere really cool like that. And I was like, wow, a student pilot in like Bora Bora, and she's flying by herself, and she's flying over water without a life jacket on. Here in Australia, it's completely illegal to do that, and I believe it is over there as well. So before I had an opportunity to go, wow, isn't that amazing that there's somebody who is about the same age as me, same sex as me, like leading the way for female helicopter pilots everywhere. Instead, I got triggered as F. Like, I was like, oh my goodness, she's doing it wrong. How dare she? I can't believe she hasn't told anybody she's a student pilot. Why isn't she wearing her life jacket? I want evidence for why, all of this stuff came up. And I don't know if you guys have ever experienced the same thing. You have to have. You're human. So what happens when you are triggered by somebody else's post? And it's very likely the underlying thing is one of three things. So I'm going to talk to you about all the three things. Number one, what to do when you are triggered by somebody's post. Now, as I was scrolling through and I was going, wow, those ones, my wow turned into a wow. In that moment, I had a choice. In that moment, I had a choice to either continue to scroll and ignore it or really attach myself to it. So that's number one to do when you are triggered. Do you have a choice right then and there to continue scrolling? Yes. In any given moment, you can continue to scroll. You don't have to buy into what's going on there. You don't have to be reactive to what's happening on there. You have an ability to respond by continuing to scroll. So, hey Rose, hey Helen, hey Catherine, and anyone else who is watching. Hey Nick. So, when you're triggered by something on social media, there's this amazing thing that you can do is scroll past it. Because that thing in actual fact has to do with that person and not necessarily to do with you. But if you want to make it to do with you, and this is what I did today, I was like, wow, that person's doing this other amazing thing. Maybe I will. And I was like, she's just doing this thing that I like, oh my goodness, and she's doing it all wrong. And I can't believe she's like flying over Bora Bora. Oh my goodness. It was oh, I was in that moment and I wasn't able to scroll past. Okay, so that takes me from number 1, you have a choice to scroll or not, and ignore it or not. But if you can't do that, maybe consider number 2. Number 2, notice where you are in fact jealous. I wrote these notes. My son wrote these notes for me this afternoon because I was like, why am I acting like this about another amazing female doing epic stuff? Another amazing pilot doing epic stuff. I could be just holding her up and like giving her a hug and sending her messages of love for being the epic person that she is. But instead, I was having to notice where I am in fact jealous and where this has actually been a hidden goal of mine. Oh my goodness, right? Where are you looking at what's happening and instead of going, oh my goodness, that's totally a goal of mine to fly over Bora Bora. Oh my goodness. And not to have to fly with a life jacket would be epic. And that is totally something I would love to do. I want to fly around islands for sure. Now, if you're looking at somebody else's post and you're looking at it, consider you might in actual fact be jealous. Making her wrong about everything she was doing was not helping me. Noticing what was right about that was something even better, because now I can see her as the leader that she is, in that she is sharing her journey in a way that I haven't. And I'm like, oh, I can share like that. Oh my goodness, I can share the spaces and places that I fly in. Oh my goodness, I can share this information. And the reason that I'm sitting here, the little green-eyed monster in me is going, oh, that's available to me too. And I haven't told anybody, and I haven't shown up and been visible to let me know that I can actually do that too. So that was me. Number 2. So if you can't scroll and ignore, notice where you are jealous and own it and see it as a beautiful goal for you and another place where you can become more visible in what you're doing and what you're creating and what you're celebrating. Number 3. Now this is a trickier one. But I do this all the time. My belief is that the universe sends us the mirrors that we need right in the moment that we need them. And the more triggered we are, the more likely it is this is the mirror for us. Otherwise, we would have just scrolled and ignored. So if this is really triggering me, I have to also see where I am pointing out the wrongs, making people wrong, because in actual fact, there isn't any wrong or right. So where I'm pointing out the wrongs, the failings, or the shortcomings in somebody else that are actually hidden inside of me. I was making her wrong because I have flown without the life jacket on before. I've flown over water without the life jacket on before. I've done that. And I'm automatically pointing out in her and making her wrong and saying, oh, she's doing all of these things. But I've done that before. I can give you every excuse as to why I've done that, but I've done it. So notice if you are triggered by somebody else's post, what you're making wrong about what they are doing, that bit, instead of going, turn it back and go, where have I done that? Even in the smallest minute amount. Now, you might not have done it physically, but you might have thought to do it. And that might be why you haven't gone through with doing it. But where have you done the wrongness that you're pointing out in somebody else? And where can you actually stay in integrity and own that bit? So my Freaky Friday is all about the freaky, thanks for pointing that out, Helen, the freaky energies that are hanging around for the full moon. And how even the best of us, at the best of times, can get totally triggered by people's posts. And instead of investing the bandwidth, the energy, the time, and all of the things that comes with that into being triggered by somebody's post, how about we could turn it around to either choose, like really, absolutely kind of choose, like not maybe I'll think about that. Maybe I'll dabble into bitching about it. Maybe I'll dabble into like making myself feel bad about it. Maybe I just choose to scroll and ignore. Or number 2 was notice where I am in fact jealous. So notice and own the jealousy factor, because I was totally jealous. I want to fly in Bora Bora too. And instead notice the leadership and the way that that person is creating a space to become super visible. And notice where I was even jealous of her becoming super visible of her flights around Bora Bora. And number 3 is, how do we turn it around? Instead of the pointing of the finger of the wrongness and the excuses about why that is so wrong, turn it around and notice, what can I own in this where I've actually done, been, or thought this wrongness in myself? Alrighty, it's nice to see all you guys. Thanks for the hair comment, Chanel. I've got to grow this undercut out, so we've got to do it. That had better not end up being the the static picture for Facebook, I hope. So awesome. Hopefully this has been beneficial to some of you. I know that it's an ongoing thing in this beautiful social media driven world, an ongoing thing with being absolutely, positively, beautifully human, in that we can continue to create awarenesses, shift and change, and see what is actually possible for us. And actually, you know, in the end, I'm in total gratitude for this woman. She has been like an angel in disguise, shining a light on where I have a possibility that I didn't see a possibility before. Like, of course I can go to Bora Bora. She's done it. I can do it. Of course I can fly without a what's it call it? Yeah, a life jacket. Of course I can fly without a life jacket. Of course I can fly in Bora Bora. Of course I can fly and get my license the same as her. And she has been a beautiful guiding light for me, so I'm in utter gratitude for the person who triggered the shit out of me today, for her and her leadership that showed me it. And hopefully this has been beneficial to you if you've ever been triggered by, or if you will be triggered by, being totally human, anyone's posts, because you can totally be in gratitude for them. They've shown up to shine a light for you, to know your possibilities. Otherwise you would have scrolled past them. So beautiful. Thank you. Oh yes, Amanda, mirror mirror on the wall. Totally. All right, have an amazing weekend. Enjoy the freakiness. We had freaky Friday the 13th only 2 weeks ago, and now we have freaky full moon juju and energy. Have an amazing time. Much love to you all, and I'll catch you next week.